What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's doing well. This is Lucky. I'm back with another one. I'm going to talk about something real quick, something that's on my mind, something that I'm kind of hearing out there that I really don't like. Not that I really don't like, but I think some of the information or some of the answers are not, in my opinion, really that accurate. And so I'm speaking from experience. And so I just wanted to make a video about it real quick. Y'all see this is like kind of on my mind, and I guess I'm trying to say what I'm trying to say in a correct fashion. But it just is what it is, right? So a question that I get a lot of times, and it's typically from women, and they're talking about their significant others, is can he change? Okay, can he change? That's typically what a woman wants to know about, her significant other, whether it be dating, long-term relationship, marriage, whatever it is. He's exhibiting some type of behavior that she's not comfortable with or that she just doesn't accept. But because she's emotionally attached to him, she wants to be with him and she wants the relationship to work. But because of this particular behavior that he's exhibiting, and I'm not pinpointing any particular behavior, it's just a behavior that she doesn't like. She wants to know, can he change? She's probably made several attempts, told him about it several times. Baby, I need you to change. Baby, I don't like when you do this. I don't like when you do that, or whatever. And, they still remain together X amount of years, but it's slowly just kind of breaking her down. And she's like, can he change? Like, does he have the ability to change? And so just my quick answer to that is yes. Yes, he can change, okay? But I'm gonna get a little more detail into it, okay? So, first and foremost, at the end of the day, a person is who a person is, right? Their personality, right? I do believe that. I do believe that there are different components that come together to make us who we are, but I think that genetically, like when we're born, from what we get from our parents, there is just a baseline, just a base, like a foundation to who we are. And I do believe that, like, at that level, right, when you just get down to the base, when you get down to the core of things, you are who you are. So one of the reasons why I say that is anybody out there who has children, how many times have, your child just done something or did something or just whatever the case may be, said something, and you look at them and you say, man, you're just like your father. Man, you're just like your father. Or, just amongst family, you and your siblings, so you can see your moms in your sister. Like your sister just, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you mommy. Or, oh, that's mom. You are just like your mother. You are mommy all day. Right? You understand what I'm saying? I think that genetically, parents pass certain things down to their kids, period, point blank. So we are who we are genetically, right? So now if I am who I am genetically, right? And that is kind of like, I don't know, I guess a little bit personality, you know what I'm saying? And again, this is no scientific stuff or anything like that. I know somebody's gonna jump out and be like, oh no, that's because, da da da. This is just me being me, and I'm just breaking it down my way. I'm not using, medical terms or, things like that. I don't know. I'm just going off of my experience. If you're asking someone to change, right? If your significant other does something that you don't like that they do, right? First of all, you have to see where that behavior is coming from. And if that behavior is coming from just their personality, something that's just like kind of built into them, genetically, this is how they are, it's going to be difficult to change, right? But before I get into that, just let me go to the next thing, right? So you have basically your personality, right? That's just who you are genetically. That's just the foundation. That's just the core of who you are, right? So secondly, you have mindset, right? I think that's another thing that controls our behaviors. The first thing is your genetics. You behave based on your genetics. And then Another behavior is based on your mindset. So now, in my opinion, your mindset is kind of like all of the experiences that you've had in life, including your current experience, right? So it's just experiences, right? Mindsets can change. I know my mindset has changed over the years. I mean, drastically. If somebody were to meet me now or to re-meet me, if I was to just bump into somebody from a long time ago, they'll look at me and be like, what? Are you kidding me? You understand what I'm saying? Because over time, past experiences, and then your current experience or current situation are the things that mold your mindset. So now if your behavior is based on your mindset, that behavior can be changed. That behavior can be changed. And it's easier to change behavior that is based on mindset than it is to change behavior that is based on genetics. Again, it's just my opinion. I'm no psychologist or, anything like that. It's just based on my opinion. And when I speak on my opinion, I'm speaking on things that I've seen, but in this instance, I'm speaking on me, okay? So you have genetics that determine behavior, and then, you have your mindset that determines behavior. Now, there are probably other, little things here and there, whatever. I'm not really trying to get all into that. Like, those two things, in my opinion, are, the two main factors that determine your behavior. So now let's get into the change, right? So ladies or fellas, because there's a lot of fellas that having issues with their lady and they want their lady to change, and so they may have you guys may have the same question. So can they change? Again, I gave my answer. My answer is yes, they can change. However, the success rate of that change is going to be determined by what that change needs to be. Where is that behavior coming from? If that behavior is coming from genetics, their personality, I don't know what the success rate is on that, okay? I can speak on myself thus far. Me and my current situation, I think my success rate is pretty much a 0. You know what I mean? I don't want to say a 0, but it's low. It's low, okay? You are who you are. It doesn't mean that you can't change, all right? But again, if it's coming from your personality, if it's coming from the genetics, that's going to be the hardest change, because that's just how you're hardwired. That's your hardwired. So now what happens is you have to know how to be two different people. In my opinion, that's my experience for me. My wife asked me to change. My communication is bad. Like, I say what I say. I mean what I say. I say what I mean. And that's just it. I get straight to the point. I've never been the type to sugarcoat anything. Water it down or say it in a way that, is easier to accept, or I don't know. If you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it, and every time I get asked a question and I answer it, it's like, why you got to be like that? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, why I got to be like what? Why'd you ask me the question if you couldn't handle the answer? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that that's the best way for me to be, but that's just the only way that I know how to be. It's just the only way that I know how to be. I don't know how to be any other way. That's just how I am. Now, to say that I can't change, it's difficult. I've tried, but I kind of relapse. I do good for 6 months because, again, I'm being in an unnatural state. I'm being in an unnatural state. My natural state is, if you ask me a question, I'm going to give you the answer. Straightforward, straight to the point. And see, the thing about me is when I talk, I project my voice. My voice tends to carry. I use body language a lot. I don't know if you can tell, but I move around a lot. I use my hands. I don't put hands on anybody unless I have to. But I'm talking about protecting myself, defending myself. I'm not talking about like in a relationship with a woman and I don't put hands on, but I do talk with my hands. You know what I'm saying? I stand firm, and that can be taken as being aggressive. You know what I mean? I don't really mean it to be aggressive, but that's just, that's just how I was taught to communicate. You know what I'm saying? You say what you mean what you say, and that's just it. Get to the point. No need to sugarcoat it or whatever the case may be. And so that's just how I communicate, and that's where my problem And my current situation is just, you know what I'm saying, my communication, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's just built in me. But I try, you know, and I'm good. I'll be good for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. And then something happen, you know what I'm saying? I get triggered. And I'm not necessarily saying that she triggered me, but I would just get triggered. So if you're in the same situation, like you're doing your best to change, but you know what I'm saying? You just like, why? You know, I used to ask myself, she'd be like, why are you yelling at me? I'm like, yo, I don't even know. But I'm really not yelling. I just, when I try to communicate, you know, I get passionate. And when I get passionate, I get a little, I guess I do get a little aggressive, and it's just taken the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? And then when I'm aggressive and then I'm saying something that they don't necessarily want to hear, you know what I mean? It's taken a different way than I'm really, you know what I'm saying, trying to give it. And so it's just, you know, it's just not good. It's just not good. And I do my best to change. But I always find myself every now and then, like I just kind of relapse and just go back to the natural me. So it's difficult, you know. So when you're asking your significant other, your spouse, whatever the case may be, when you're asking them to change, you have to kind of understand what it is that you're asking of them, right? So now you have like, and like I said, that stuff is hardwired. So now you have the stuff that is soft wired, right? And so that's your mindset, again, based on past experiences and your current situation. So now that, in my opinion, is a situation that's a lot easier to change, okay? Mindsets can change. You change that mindset, you'll be okay. So the success rate on changing someone's behavior based on their mindset, the success rate is a lot higher. You know what I mean? I've changed my mindset on my own without asking to be changed. I can read a book and there's something in that book that just clicks in my mind and I'm like, man, hold on. You know what I'm saying? And then boom, I can change my whole, you know what I'm saying? My whole mindset on or in a particular area. You understand what I'm saying? So that mindset, you know, changing behavior that's based on mindset, you know, the success rate on that, in my opinion, is pretty high if they want to change. Now, those, in my opinion, are pretty much the areas or the foundation of your behavior. You know, genetics, and then you know, mindset. Now, again, if you're the person that is being asked to change, you have to want to change. But you have to really look and see where that behavior is coming from, right? If that behavior is coming from just what's built in you, is the way that you've always been, and it's pretty much, it's part of your personality, you know, it's in your genetics or whatever, you have to be real with yourself. You have to be real with yourself, and you have to be real with the person that you're with. And you're like, listen, I'm going to do my best to make this change, but understand this is just how I've always been. Like, I don't mean no harm when you know what I'm saying? And try to find a common ground on it, maybe. You know, you can't do it yourself. I'm going to tell you that right now. Well, I couldn't do it by myself. I haven't been able to do it by myself, you know. You know, it's just like someone that has an addiction. You know what I mean? I think that when you have an addiction, there's just something short, like a short circuit or something somewhere that kind of changed in you, right? So now you're addicted to, let's just say, alcohol, right? You know, you have an issue with alcohol, right? So you go through a program, and then, you know, when you come out the program, you have a sponsor, you have a support system, you go to weekly meetings and all of that, right? Why? Because you need help with making that change. I didn't have a support system. I didn't have a sponsor. I didn't have weekly meetings to help me change. And this is something that I'm trying to change, that I've been this way all my life, but I had no support in that change. You know, I just thought I could do it by myself. Okay, yeah, I'll change, no problem. I'll just talk differently, or I'll use different words when I speak, or I'll speak from a different place. You know what I'm saying? When I'm talking to you. I mean, it just didn't work. You know what I mean? And then now you got a genetic thing going on, and then you pile on all your past experiences. You know what I mean? And it could be traumatic experiences, things that have an effect on your mindset and the way you think. So now you pile that onto the genetic part. Man, and you sitting there wondering, man, this relationship was so good. How did it just go every day? It just seemed like every time the arguments just keep getting worse and worse and worse. That's because the mindset and the experiences and your current situation is not being addressed. And you know, you're not healing from those things. So all they're doing is compounding. And for men, speaking for myself, I'm not really big on communicating and expressing my feelings and things of that nature. So I hold it all in, and it just builds up and builds up and builds up. And it's just like, man, what did I just do? You know what I mean? You take something small and it turns into something big simply because you're holding, a bunch of stuff inside. And that's just, you know what I mean? It's not good. And I don't want to get off subject. So I'm just going to get back to those changes. So, like I said, my answer to the question is yes, he can change. Okay, fellas, if you're wondering just about your lady, yes, she can change. But you have to look and see where that change has to come from. Look and see where that behavior is originating from. Look and see where that behavior is coming from first to understand what the success rate can be, or how difficult it's going to be, or how long it's going to take. Okay, but my issue with what I'm hearing when it comes to him or her changing is that if he loves you, he will change. I get that all day. Okay, I'm with that. But then the flip side to that is, if he doesn't change, he doesn't love you. No, I do not agree with that. Because sometimes when you're asking somebody to change something that's just a part of who they are, their personality, their genetics, you're asking them to be someone that they're not. And if they're unable to change just who they are, just at the core, who they are, like that's just wired in them, it's not fair to say that they don't love you because they cannot change their genetic makeup. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to understand, like, it depends on the change that you're asking. So like, okay, I'll just give some examples, right? Me, I come home, hard day's work, come in the house, man, take my clothes off, take my uniform off. I've been out in the street, my clothes are dirty, take it off, man, and it's spread out just wherever, all around the room, right? And so, oh man, why you always leave your uniform out? Why it's all over the floor? I just, cleaned up, and now you coming in here throwing it. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, now something like that, yeah, that could change. You know what I'm saying? That's just a habit. You know what I'm saying? To me, that falls into the mindset thing. That falls into the easier of the two to change, right? That's just a mindset thing, right? That's really like a habit, After a certain amount of times of correcting that, he or she should get it. You know what I mean? That's nothing. You worried about something like that, that's nothing. You can work on that. Oh, I would just like for him to wash the dishes. I prepared a meal. The least he could do is put the put the stuff in the dishwasher or something like that. Helping out around the house, chores and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, that's something. That's mindset. That could be changed. But when you're getting down to the root, when you're getting down to the core of who somebody is, like just in their genetics, and they struggle with it and they're having a hard time, to say that person doesn't love you because they struggle with making that change, it's just not fair. I mean, think about yourself. The core of who you are. Like, just say something, you find something funny. Something is just funny to you. It's just funny, right? I think humor is just kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure if humor is part of your mindset or I don't know. Like, some things I just find funny. Some things I can watch a movie and there's just something in that movie that is just going to make me laugh that maybe nobody else is laughing at. I don't know. I don't know. But let's just say, like, no. I'm gonna come back to that. Let's just say you don't like cauliflower. You just don't like cauliflower. And now your significant other is like, baby, I need you to just love this cauliflower. You know what I mean? You can act like you love cauliflower. They can put all the cauliflower on your plate. Put all that cauliflower on your plate and you just eat it like it tastes good. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it doesn't taste good. Do you have control over how it tastes? Nah, there's just something in your genetic makeup that you just do not like how it tastes. There's just going to be certain things that you just do not like how it tastes. You understand what I'm saying? Whether you're tall or short, that's just a part of your genetic makeup. That was, in my opinion, kind of like in the works a little bit, I guess, in the works when you were born. Oh, he's going to be tall or he's going to be short, or she's going to be tall, she's going to be short. Like, I think that was kind of like in your genetics. I don't know. I'm just going off of what I think. But so I think certain personality traits are just genetically in you. You know what I'm saying? Me, my communication, I think it's just in me. You know what I'm saying? I get that from my father. That's how my father was. He just He was a straight shooter. He was a straight shooter. That's it. But I knew straight out the gate, and I know for sure my mother knew straight from the gate. Do not ask this man a question that you really do not want to know the answer to. Do not ask this man his opinion on anything that you think, you know what I'm saying, it might come back and hurt you. That we just knew that. You understand what I'm saying? And that was it. If we asked him and he was brutally honest, I don't even know what brutally honest is, but he was just honest. I mean, that's just what it was. That's what we had to deal with. But just do not associate the love that someone has for you with their ability to change. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Their ability to change, or their success rate at changing who they are, should not be based on whether or not they love you. There should be no connection, in my opinion. If they make an attempt, if they're making an honest attempt, if your man changes for 6 months and then he kind of, now again, I'm not talking about, I'm not saying you should lower your standards and allow certain behaviors just because no. If you have certain standards, you stick to those standards. If that man can't meet them standards, you leave that man. If that woman can't meet those standards, you leave that woman. Let them know it's not gonna work. That's it. It's that simple. So I'm not saying lower your standards. I'm not saying to, just accept stuff that you're not willing to accept. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is don't put on that person, because trust me as a man who tried to make the changes that were asked of me, I was struggling myself, knowing that I was doing everything to make those changes, but every now and then it would be something that triggered me, and I would just kind of fall back and be like, then I'm sitting there looking at myself crazy, like, oh man. And then, she's looking at me like, I know you didn't change. You was just acting the whole time. You just wanted me to, just be quiet and everything. So you just act like you did. And it's like, nah. So that person that's trying to change, if they really love you and they making that attempt, believe me, they're struggling with really trying to be two different people. They're trying to be themselves, but now they have to smother, you know what I'm saying, or suppress who they really are to try to be the person that you want them to be. That is a struggle. You know what I'm saying? That is a struggle. But I was so emotionally attached that I couldn't even realize that I was struggling. And then sometimes with the communication, now, because I'm dealing with that struggle, now I got frustrations that are coming out. And it's like, yo, why are you yelling? I'm like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's bad. So I just want to say that real quick. Do not just associate whether or not a person loves you on how successful they are with making the changes that you want them to make. In my opinion, the two don't go together. They don't. If they're making an attempt, to me, that shows that they love you at some level, if they're at least making an attempt. But look at the change that you're asking them to make. If that change is something that's just built into their personality, and you know from the gate when you got with them that they were like that, or you saw those tendencies and you still got with them because of that emotional feeling that you was getting, like that new love and all that, then you just don't really put it all on that person. You know what I'm saying? Don't put it all on that person. Believe me, I very hard on myself because I felt like I could make that change. Like, that's an easy change, but it really wasn't. That was just something that was just kind of like deeply rooted in me. And then I didn't realize how your emotional past and stuff like that play a role on your emotional present. You know what I mean? So that's something that I learned. That's a life lesson that I'm learning. And so I'm trying to get rid of all of that stuff to make me a much better person, and then work on, hopefully, when I get rid of whatever emotional, trauma and, all of that, then I could just move on and be a better person, you know what I'm saying? And coexist peacefully, you know what I mean, with somebody. So yes, he or she can change, but no, it's not fair to say that if they cannot change, or if they do not change, or if they are struggling with their change, that they don't love you. That's not fair. All right, I'm out.